oddly enough, leading into Sunday, I really feel like the biggest story of this week ended up being what Antonio Brown and other Buccaneers players may have tried to pull off.
I mean, this is the same dude who wanted an old, outdated helmet so bad he painted it by himself in Raiders colors.
Man.
Did we ever really put it past him that he would be just handwriting a vaccination card, like probably on an index card or something, just that AB was vaccinated? Like, this is like the most surprising yet unsurprising story ever, because it's always something with AB, and I wonder. Tampa already made their deal with the devil, right? Like, I mean,
Sure.
by signing him, you're automatically just saying we don't really care. Like, we're just giving up. We're not. We'll take your slings and arrows, but. I mean, at some point, like, I don't know, like, is this guy worth the trouble? That's what we ask all the time. I guess he probably is, but it's just such a show with him all the time. Like, it's always something.
I wrote today, I think he's got the upper hand with the Buccaneers in this whole situation. I really, truly do, because I think that Tom Brady wants him there. He wouldn't be there in the first place if Tom didn't. You know, Bruce Arians moved off his spot initially about not adding Antonio Brown to that locker room, when ultimately that's something that Tom really thought would be the best thing. And guess what it was? It helped them win a Super Bowl. He contributed down the stretch. And to me, I think there are two things about this that are interesting. Number one, it's that they need him. That having him on the field, particularly looking at what Gronkowski's doing right now. Now, they beat the Atlanta Falcons in Atlanta 30-17. 2 touchdowns, Rob Gronkowski. Now the best TD connection in history, next to Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison. But if Gronk's on the field and he's healthy, and Chris Godwin's out there, and Mike Evans is out there, and Antonio Brown is out there, unless the line is not holding up, unless the protection is awful, you're screwed. Like, that's just the bottom line. And
Fournette too. Fournette's playing great football. Like, I didn't expect that coming, but
absolutely, yeah, they're getting contributions from Leonard Fournette, but as they did in the playoffs last year. You know, that has kind of become the dude a little bit there. So I think they know ultimately, and particularly Tom Brady knows, if we have our 3 receivers and our tight end, no matter what, we're going to have a mismatch every single time I drop into the pocket, at least one mismatch to go after. So I think that, number one, it puts, I know they're waiting, you know, we'll figure out what Antonio Brown's status is after the 3-week suspension is up, and then they'll figure it out. I think he's going to be sticking around. I think ultimately because they're going to know this gives us our best chance to win a Super Bowl. Now, that said, what I thought was really interesting about the revelation is the way this it continues to be framed as misrepresented their vaccination status. And the league and the union, this joint statement, it was really interesting to me. They were very careful about not saying anything about faking vaccination cards, falsifying or forging any kind of information. Like, they were very careful about that. And I think the reason for that is, particularly once the union got involved, they don't know what's going to happen legally. They don't know if something could ultimately happen legally. Because look, there's some nuance in what exactly is illegal here. If you create a vaccination card, if you forge, like completely falsify a vaccination card, if you're printing them in the back, okay, you're committing a felony and you're probably going to prison. FBI is probably going to get involved and you're going to get screwed. Now, these could have been legitimate vax cards. They could have been 100% legitimate. Maybe somebody palmed them at a hospital, palmed them wherever, you know, they could have gotten their hands on vaccination cards. And then the guys just fill in the information. Now you get into some gray area there about what was being written in and who was the card being presented to. It wasn't like you're going through customs. It wasn't like you're traveling and, it's some federal mandate to go here or go there. We got to see your vaccination card. It was the NFL. It was to go play. Right. And so I think there's some gray area there. But that's what's going to be interesting as this moves forward, is whether or not, if Antonio Brown or any of the other players aren't on the hook for this in terms of some kind of a felony, maybe somebody down the line was. And the question is, does the feds go through this process of saying, okay, where did you get it? And now let's find out who the person was who's getting vaccination cards, even if they're real, They're getting them for individuals out there and selling them. I think that's where the problem could come in.
Right, and a high-profile case where they want to make an example out of somebody. Here you go. I mean, who better than Antonio Brown? If you don't want people out there faking vax cards, well, this is a pretty good time to get yourself in some headlines. Is just say we're making an example of you.